Hi, so if you guys are watching this, I imagine you're sitting with a question that doesn't have easy answers. And the question is, should I stay or should I leave? And this question is one of the most private, destabilizing, and misunderstood decisions someone can face. And not because you are indecisive or too emotional, but because this question isn't just about love. This question is about identity, about belonging, about history, about hope. It touches everything. Who you have been in this time with this person, who you thought you would be, what you promised, what you have endured, what was promised to you. And you might be carrying all of that in silence because it's hard to admit, even to yourself, that something doesn't feel right anymore, especially when nothing on the surface is technically wrong. So a question for you is, how did you end up here? People don't ask this question lightly, right? They ask it after they have tried, after the compromises, the couples therapy, the long walks and late night conversations, after they have turned themselves outside in or inside out, trying to make it work. So if you are here, it's probably because some part of you has already felt the shift. And maybe it started as a numbness or as quiet resentment. And the way you no longer recognize yourself in the mirror in this relationship is perhaps the biggest sign. And it's not necessarily because you stop loving your partner, but because you started disappearing in the process of staying in this relationship. Now, the question isn't always, is this relationship bad? More often, the question is this still the right container for who am I becoming? And that is such a different kind of grief, because it's not about betrayal or cruelty or chaos. It's about misalignment. It's about two people who once made sense, but maybe not anymore. And when that happens, the hardest part is the doubt. You wonder if you are being too sensitive, or if you are being idealistic, or if you are being too quick to run, especially when everybody around you keeps reinforcing this idea that staying is always the higher road. But what if it's not? What if it's not? So there is a difference between choosing to stay because something worth rebuilding, and staying simply because it's familiar. Familiarity can mimic safety, but let's understand that it's not the same thing. We get used to certain rhythms, even when being with our partner quietly drains us in ways that we have learned to ignore. We tell ourselves it's not that bad. We tell ourselves that all couples have struggles, that no one feels fulfilled all the time, that it's a normal path. And while that is partly true, because struggle it is part of real intimacy, there is a difference between occasional disconnection and chronic self-abandonment. So, very important, ask yourself, Am I staying because there is real potential here that we are both willing to work towards? Or am I staying because I'm terrified of what living will mean? Clarity doesn't always come with peace. Clarity sometimes arrives with an incredible unease. It comes in the form of burnout sometimes, like your body is tired of trying to convince your heart to stay. It's not always a clear voice. Sometimes it's more like a quiet knowing that lives underneath all the noise. If you want to start sorting through this, you need to start gently. You don't need to make a decision right away. What you need is clarity, honesty with yourself, the kind of truth that settles your body, even if it stirs up your life, because believe me, that will happen. So you need to start noticing how your body responds in the relationship. Not just your partner, not just how your partner treats you, but how you feel around them. So after spending time together, do you feel more connected to yourself or less? And then try imagining what 5 more years of this dynamic might feel like. The same patterns, the same conversations, the same silences. And not as a punishment, just as a check-in. So when you picture it, do you feel your chest open, like there is a space to breathe? Or does something tighten, like your body quietly says no? And when all the noise settles, the fears, the shoulds, the shame, is there a small steady part of you that already knows? So it's okay if this takes time. This isn't about forcing a quick decision. It's about being honest with yourself. Finally, fully honest. You don't owe anyone a perfect package reason. You don't need a dramatic justification. You don't need to prove you tried hard enough. You just need to be willing to stop pretending. Because the longer you stay in a relationship that no longer fits, out of guilt or habit or fear of being alone, the harder it becomes to hear yourself. And the more damage you both quietly absorb, because sometimes people wait for a crisis to give them permission to leave. But you don't need things to fall apart spectacularly in order to walk away. You don't need this. Sometimes it's just a quiet end. And that's still good. So, if you are living in that place in between, not quite in, not quite out, please know that you're not weak for asking this question. You're not betraying anyone by wondering what else might be possible. You are allowed to want a relationship that doesn't require you to disappear. You are allowed to want peace that is not performative. And you are allowed to rebuild, not because what you had was meaningless, but because you will have changed. And the shape of your life needs to change too. So, whatever you choose, let it come from the clearest, calmest part of you. That part that wants truth more than comfort. Thanks for being here. If this resonated, feel free to share what part felt true for you. And if you're still quietly sorting through all of it, that's okay. You are allowed to take time. You need to take time.